All right. So again, thank you guys for joining us for our help session today on April 23rd, 2021. We are going to jump into our surface area notebooks, and I am going to go over work that you should have already completed, but you're going to get the opportunity to see how it should have been done. And if you need to correct your work, please do so. I'm going to go pretty quickly, so I want you to try to keep up as much as possible, but this video will be available after the session when I post it this afternoon. So let's start. I'm going to start at the beginning of the Let's Face It activity. This is where you had to fill in the table to calculate the area of each lateral face and then the total surface area of the 3D shape. So though it's not showing on this notebook here, we did do this first one as a class. So I am going to move to this next one. It is the cube. And I am going to go ahead and work on this. Now, we know in our 3D notes, our 3D characteristics notes, that for a cube, all of the faces are congruent. They are square faces. They all equal the same amount. So it tells us that if we just find the area of one of the faces, we can easily and quickly find the surface area of this whole entire cube. So I'm going to just highlight, because it tells us that we just need to find the area of one of the square faces. All right, one of the square faces. So I see here that I have a base. The square's base is 8 and the height is also 8. So if we are looking at, that means each one of these is 8. I'm going to click the multiplication symbol. 8 times 8 equals 64. And because this is a square, all of these faces are the exact same. So I am putting my area of 64 for all of these faces. Now your notes say that to find the total surface area, you would find the area of one face. So we see that it's 64, and then you would times that by 6. So our total surface area is 384. Now, we also need to go ahead and to write our final units here. So this will be 384, and I see that it's centimeters squared. But that one was a pretty easy one. So now let's go to the next one. I'm going to clear this one. All right, let's look at our next shape. This one is a triangular prism. We have a triangular prism here. So let's go ahead and look at, I'm going to start with these my triangular sides, the front and the back. They are congruent triangles. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight those. I'm going to highlight at least one of them so that you can see it better. And one of the things I suggested to you in your notebooks is that if you have a highlighter, that you do this as well. It just makes it easier to see. All right, so that you could just focus on the measurements of that one shape at a time. So we know that the front is the same as the back. So when we are talking about the front and the back, we're talking about these triangles here. And we also know that to solve for the area of a triangle, it's base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write that just so I can remember. Base times height divided by 2. Okay, so this means that I need to now look at my base. The base of this triangle I see is 8. So 8, I'm going to click up here, times, and the height it's showing me is 3. So 8 times 3 equals 24. But I'm not done yet. I did the base times height. Now it is time for me to divide by 2. So I'm going to just put a comma, no spaces in my calculations, guys. And I'm going to put 24, click the division symbol, divided by 2, and that is equal to 12. So my area of these triangles, the back and the front are both 12. And because I'm online, I don't have to rewrite this. I'm just going to copy and paste. So my back and my front, they are the same. They are congruent. Okay, so now let's look at, let's take a look at the base. It might be easier for me to go ahead and highlight the base next. I'm going to highlight this base in blue. And it's kind of weird to see on this shape, but we're going to try our best. It is a quadrilateral. All right, so we're going to focus on just this little kind of blue shape here. And when I'm looking at the base and the height, and you can choose whichever number, because remember 10 times 8 is the same as 8 times 10. So I'm going to put that the base of that quadrilateral is 8 times a height of 10 is equal to 80. So I know that my base is 80. Now we can focus on our sides. And we know that side 1 and side 2, they are congruent on a triangular prism. So I'm going to go ahead and try to highlight one of these quadrilateral sides. And remember, guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. Mine surely is not. All right, so we're just trying to look at this green quadrilateral so that we can solve for its area. So looking at the base of this quadrilateral for the side 1, I see that it is 10. And then looking at the height, I see that it is 5. So 10 times 5 equals 50. So my area for this shape is 50. And so now I know that side 2 is congruent. So that is also 10 times 5. And remember, guys, if you are online, you are selecting your multiplication and division symbols from up here on the toolbar so that, and you're not typing in an X, a letter X, you're clicking the multiplication symbol up here. Okay, so I have the areas of each of my, each one of my pieces of this shape. So now it's time for me to to add all of these areas together. So that's 12 plus 50 plus 80 plus 50 plus 12. And did anybody type that in? What did you get for the area, the total surface area? You can unmute and share if you have the total surface area. No one? No one got the total surface?
204.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
204.
Very good. 204 is correct. So our total surface area, I'm all tongue twisted today. Our total surface area is 204, but now it's time for me to go ahead and write my units. So 204, and I see that it's centimeters, so it's centimeters squared, or you can call it square centimeters. So I'm going to give you just a moment to make sure that you have this down before I move on. All right, so I'm going to clear and we're going to go to the next one. All right, so this right triangular prism, I believe I did this one with you. But hey, let's do it again just in case someone missed it. Okay, so it's asking us to start with the back. So I'm going to do that. You don't always have to start at the back. You can start and fill in any one of these, and that works. So let's look at the back of this. I'm going to highlight it. All right, so the back of this shape is here. Little back panel. Okay, so it's time for me to look at the measurements for this back shape. And I have to look at the base of this quadrilateral. And I know that this base is 7. And someone you might ask, how is it 7? Well, if this side of the quadrilateral is 7, that means the opposite is equal to that. So they're both 7. So that means that my base of this shape is 7. And my height is, I'm seeing here that it's 3. So 7 times 3 equals 21. So therefore the area of this piece is 21. Now I'm going to look at the base. So we looked at the back of the shape. Now let's look at the base of this shape. And it is also a quadrilateral. Okay, so just looking at the base of this shape, it's a quadrilateral with a base of 4 centimeters. So 4 times, and I'm seeing the height is 7. 4 times 7 equals 28. So the area is 28. Now I'm going to look at the front. Let's look at the front. I'm going to highlight it. It's another quadrilateral. Another quadrilateral here for us to see. Okay, and for this one, this is our front. I see that the base is 7 and the height is 5, or you may say the base is 5 and the height is 7. But guys, remember that this is the commutative property. 5 times 7 is 35, just like 7 times 5 is 35. So it does not matter which order. So let's go ahead and put 7 times our 5 equals 35. So we have 35 there for our area. Now we have side 1 and side 2 to take care of. And these are our congruent triangles. So I'm going to highlight one of them so that we can see it a little better. All right. So again, for a triangle, the area of a triangle is base times height. Then we divide that answer by 2. So the base of this triangle is 4. The height of this triangle is 3. 4 times 3 equals 12, but we're not done yet. Now it's time to divide it by 2. So now we put a comma in 12, hit the division symbol, divided by 2 is equal to 6. So my area of that triangle is 6, which means that the congruent triangle is the exact same. So we have found all of the areas of these faces. So now it's time for us to add all of these together. So 21 plus 6 plus 28 plus 6 plus 35. And we have a total of 96. And we could go ahead and write our units, 96 square centimeters. And notice I'm showing you different ways you can write the square centimeters because you'll see them written in different ways. So I want to write it a little differently sometimes so that you can see that. All right, so I'm going to clear and go to the next one. And many of you know that my favorite of these shapes would be the square pyramid. I love it because of its beauty and perfection, because it has a square base and 4 beautifully congruent triangles. Okay, so that means if you know the area of one triangle, you know the area of all 4 of them. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start with the base. I'm going to get that highlighted. And as we see, the area is a square pyramid. So the base is a square. And I see that the measurements here are 25 times 25 by 25. So there's our pretty yellow base. And again, it's 25 times 25. And you can pop that into the calculator and you will see that it's 625. So the area of my base is 625. So now let's go to a side. Notice that this side, that's one of the sides of this, the face, is a triangle. So that means base times height divided by 2. So I see, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this triangle. Just for fun, and it might be easier for some of you to see it once it's highlighted. All right, so it's a light green. And I see that the base of my triangle is 25. All right. And I see that the height is 32. So 25 times 32, is equal to 800. But we're not done yet. We did the base times the height. Now it's time for us to divide our answer by 2. So I'm going to put a comma, type 800, put my division symbol, 800 divided by 2, and that is 400. So I know that the area of one of my triangular lateral faces is 400 square feet. So that will be the same answer for all 4 triangles. So you can put this in a calculator a couple different ways, all right? You could put this in a calculator. You could say 400 times 4, because it's 4 triangle sides. And then add to that 625. Or you could say 625 plus 400 plus 400 plus 400 plus 400. And either way, you should get an area, type it up here, 2,225. So now I can write my units here, 2,225 square feet. Going to give you just a second to get that finished. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And I believe we did this one in class as well. So I'm pretty sure we did. So I'm going to go through this one super quickly just to show you how it's done. I am going to start with the base. This is a triangular pyramid. So that means that the base is a triangle. So I'm going to highlight this base. So that we can see it a little better. And I see the base of this triangle is 17. And the height is showing me is 14.7. And that is equal to 249.9. But I'm not done because this is a triangle. So it's base times height. I did that. Now it's time to divide by 2. So I'm going to pop my comma in there and do 249.9 divided by 2. And that's 124.95. So the area of my base is 124.95. So now I'm going to check out my sides, these triangular lateral faces. They are congruent. So I'm solved for one, and I'll know the answer for all 3 of them. Let's go ahead and get this colored in for you. Okay, so for this triangle side, I see that the base is 17. And it's the height, it's showing me here that it's 13.8. And that is equal to 234.6. But it's a triangle, so I'm not done. Now I'm going to put a comma on 234.6 divided by 2. That's equal to 117.3. So my area of this triangle is 117.3. And all of these triangle sides, these faces, are congruent. So that means that I am putting the same data in answer. But now I need to find my total surface area. So I could take that 117 times the 3 sides, and that gives me 351.9. Then I'm going to add the base. and I get a total of 476.85. So now I can write my units. So 476.85, and I see that it's feet. So that means it's square feet. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is a rectangular pyramid, So I see that the base, because it's a rectangular pyramid, that means the base is a rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight that base. It's gray, but I'm still going to highlight it for you. All right, so I see that for this quadrilateral, it is 20 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So for my base, it's 20 times 10, which equals to 200. All right, so the area for that one is 200. And that was pretty simple, pretty cool. Now it is time for we're going to do our sides, which are the opposite triangles are congruent. So this side is congruent to the side over here. And then this front is congruent to the back. So let's go ahead and take care of a side. I'm going to highlight it again for you. All right, so when we're looking at this triangle here, I see the base is 10. And the height is showing us is 18. 10 times 18 is 180. And that's just the base times height. Now it's time for us to divide by 2. 180 divided by 2 is equal to 90. So my side there is 90. And this side one is congruent to side 2. So they're both 90. Now it's time for us to go ahead and get our front and back solved. So I'm going to highlight what the front is. Again, another triangle. All right. So now that I can see this triangle a little bit better, I see that the base of this triangle is 20. And I have to multiply the height, and I see that it's showing me here that the height is 15.8. So 20 times 15.8 is 316. It's a triangle, so now I need to divide by 2, 316 divided by 2. And that is equal to 158. So the area of this face is 158. And I know that the front is congruent to the back. So they both are 158. So now I need to get the total surface area, I'm going to add my 200 plus 90 plus 90 plus 316, because it's 158 plus 158. and I get a total of 696. All right, 696. So now I'm going to write my units here. So it's 696, and I see it's centimeters. Okay, so I am not going to go over the apply it. Let me clear that coloring. That is a great opportunity for you to put your thinking caps on. I'm going to move forward. We did the draw to find. We did these, the rectangular prism. So turn to the draw to find or scroll if you're online to the draw to find. We already did the rectangular prism. So now I am going to do the cube, which is super, super easy, but we are going to do the cube anyways. So we know for the cube, and we can look at our, let's see which one has our notes. When we look at our cube, this is how our net looks, or we can have it look like a capital T. So let's go ahead and fill in our net. So I see that for this cube, it is, the face is 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters. So on my grid here, I'm going to select 3 by 3. And again, you're drawing this, it's not going to be perfect, but I want you to stay calm. It will be okay. So our cube has a total of 6 faces. Let's make sure we have them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. So we have our net of our cube here. And we can go ahead and label our parts, label our sides. I know that this is a cube, so this side is 6, and this side is 6. You just have the base times the heights. So now I can fill in for each of these faces how much the area is. Oops, and excuse me, I put 6s. That's my fault. Sorry about that, guys. They are 3s. Okay, so now we can go through, and I know that base times height, so 3 times 3 is 9. And this is base times height. That, remember, once we know the area of one of the faces of a cube, we know all of the faces of a cube. And as you see in your notes, I suggested that to get the total surface area of a cube, you find the area of one face, and in this case, it's 9, and you simply times it by 6, and that gives you the total surface area. So the total surface area here is 54. And I can now write that it's 54 square centimeters. And don't forget here, guys, it asks for the name of this shape, and it is a cube. It is a cube. But this one was easy. I know that you guys didn't really struggle with this one. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. I'm going to clear this one. Okay, so this name of the shape, this is a triangular prism. Triangular prism. So if we look back at our notes, our triangular prism looks like this. It's like 3 quadrilaterals with little wings on the base, the center quadrilateral. So we are going to start with one of our sides, because let me show you on the notes what I mean by that. So for this triangular prism, it has one side that's attached to the base, that's attached to the other side. And then we have these front and back triangles. So let's start with, we're going to draw our shape just like this. So let me highlight the side so that you guys can see what measurements we are going to use. Coloring this one all kinds of crazy, but you guys get the point. Okay, so I see for this quadrilateral that the base is 6 and the height is 4. Okay, so I am going to put that onto my net here. I'm going to draw my net. So I see that I need to do a 6, a 6, and then 4. All right, so that's that side. Now it's time for me to take care of attaching the base to it. So let's look at what the base is. All right, so this base is also a 6, but it has a height of 2. 6, but it has a height of 2. So I'm going to go over 6 and then just down 2 blocks. But now I have for this triangular prism, there are 2 sides that are congruent. So I'm going to draw another one of these green sides that's 6 by 4. Okay, so I've done side 1 and side 2. I've done the base. Now it's time for me to go ahead and take care of those cute little wings that are our triangles, our congruent triangles. So let me highlight that for you first so that you can see what it looks like. All right, so I see that for this triangle, the base is 2. And my height is 3. So from that base, I'm going to go up 3 blocks. And in order to get my triangle drawn, I'm just going to go from one edge to the point of that triangle. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing over here because those triangles are congruent. So if you're online, you could just use the line function, the line tool on your toolbar here. And if you have a paper packet, just draw to the best of your ability. Some of you may have rulers available, and that's great too. But I'm not looking at this based on the perfection of your shape. I'm looking at this on whether or not you could truly try to draw the net. All right, so let's go ahead and now take care of the area of each one of these. So first, I'm going to look at the area of my sides here, the quadrilateral sides. It was a 6x4. So that means 6 times 4, and that gives me an area of 24. And these two sides are congruent, so they are both 24. Then I had a base here, and it's a 6x2. So that's 6 times 2, which gives me an area of 12. And now it's time for me to find the area of my triangle here. Well, the base is 2. The height is 3. So base times height is 2 times 3 is 6. It's a triangle, so now I'm going to divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that means that each one of those triangles equals 3. So to find the total surface area, I am now going to add my 24 plus my 12 plus my 24 plus my 3 plus my 3, and I get a total of 66. So my units, it's 66 squared inches. Going to give you a second. All right, so now I'm going to clear and I'm going to move on to the next one. Let's see what's another one I want to show you guys. I showed you guys how to do this right triangular prism in class, so I'm not going to do that one again. Let's go over this one. I think I showed one class how to do this one, but I want to go ahead and have it on record how to do this one. This one was a little weird because it is a triangular pyramid. It is a triangular pyramid. And we know that because the base is a triangle. And this one is interesting because you see these little double lines here, right? What that's telling you is that all of these sides are congruent. So all of them are 7 feet and the heights are 5 1/5 foot. All right, so this one is going to be a little interesting to draw. And before I get into drawing it, I want to look and see what a triangular pyramid, what its net looks like. And hey, look at there. That is what a triangular pyramid's net looks like. So now that I know that, I'm going to go ahead and try to draw that out. And I see we have a fraction length here, so don't worry. Again, this is not going to be perfect, but we're just going to try to draw this to the best of our ability. So to start, I want to start with this first triangle. All right, I want to start with this first triangle. And so I see that this has a height of 5 1/5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And that means it's going just a tiny bit into another block. All right. So now we know that the base of this triangle is 7 feet. So I'm going to try to go ahead and get a line that's about 7 across here. All right. So I drew my base and my height of that triangle. So I'm just going to connect top of that to the edge. So this is one triangle. Out of all of my triangles. Okay, so now, and this is where it gets like tricky, guys. This is where it gets tricky. We are going to just go ahead and try to, and let's look at our net again. I want to try to get inspiration. And I'm drawing it a little bit, I'm drawing it kind of like upside down. Oops, let me undo that. Oh, I didn't choose a line, no wonder. All right, I'm going to go down. Going to make this other triangle. All right. So again, not perfect, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of our triangles here. And so now I'm going to fill in the data that I know about these triangles. So I know that the base is 7 of each of these triangles. And I know the height is 5 1/5. But in order to do this, before I can even get started on doing my math here, I have to change this 5 1/5 into an improper fraction. Right now is a mixed number. Remember, I like to do the C for change, and we're going to follow this arrow around. So 5 times 5 is 25, plus our numerator of 1, that equals 26, and we put it over the original denominator of 5. Okay, so now it's time for me to do my base times height for this triangle face. So my base is 7 times my height, we just made sure that we have it as an improper fraction, is 26 over 5. And we have to multiply that straight across. All right, so pop into your calculator, 7 times 26, and that gives you 182. And 1 times 5 gives you 5. We're not done yet. We've done base times height. And you may remember me talking about in class, and it's in your notes, that there are 2 ways to write the triangle area formula. It's base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 times the base times the height. And I told you a good time to use the 1/2 times the base times the height is when you have a fraction. And here we have a fraction. So we did the base times height. We got 182 over 5. Now it's time for us to multiply that by 1/2. Okay, so 182 times 1 is 182. And 5 times 2 is 10. So now I have to ask myself, I see that this is not this fraction's final form, as you know I like to say. So 182 and 10, they are both even. So they have a number in common that can reduce or simplify this, and that is 2. So I want to know what is 182 divided by 2, and it is 91. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So your final answer here is 91. And actually, hold on a second. (91 over 5). And he said, what is the name of this shape? Someone needs to mute.
What are you doing? Asking her a question.
I need you to, you're supposed to ask a question in the chat. We are recording this session. Please remain muted as I instructed. If you need to go to the restroom, guys, please do so. I cannot stop the class to answer restroom questions. Thank you. All right, guys. So we never did type in the name of this shape. We never did type in the name of this shape. And oh, wait, hold on. We're not done yet. Oh my. Guess what, guys? That was just the area 91 over 5. I had to catch myself, guys. And this is what I want you guys to get used to doing yourself as well. Sometimes you have to catch yourself before you make a big old error like I almost just did. So only one of these is 91 over 5. I'm not done yet because that's only one. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So all of these are 91 over 5. So in order to calculate that easily, I'm going to simply say 91 over 5 times 4 of the triangles and multiply straight across. So 91 times 4 is 364. And 5 times 1 is 5. All right. So 364 over 5 will be all of this all together. And again, this is a triangular pyramid. All right, that was a lot of work. Let's go on to the next one. Square pyramid I did for you guys in class. And I'm going to let you do the apply it on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to address the project real quick. Now that we've gone through all of these, I want to address last week's project, then I'm going to talk about this week's project in just a couple minutes total, okay? So last week's project, you had the picture this project. The picture this project. And for the picture this project, you had to make a picture, right? Matter of fact, I'll go to the picture this project. You had to make a picture using the digital pattern blocks. And then you had to calculate the surface area. You had to calculate the surface area of your picture. And some of you, for some reason, you struggled with this. I'm not sure why. I want you to make sure that you look at the video. Because if you looked at the video, it takes you step by step, but I just wanted to go through and show this step by step. So when you came to this assignment, when you clicked on a link, it brought you to this homepage. Then it gave you a how-to video. You click play in, but I also put the how-to video inside of your resources in CTLS. Then it gave you a recap of the instructions I described inside of the video. So it says drag the digital pattern blocks to create a shape/picture of your choice. You must use a variety of different shapes, and your design should use at least 8 blocks. Some people had a hard time with the at least. That means 8 or more. And I have down here, please note, you may use more than 8 blocks, but not less than 8 blocks. And it says the blocks must connect in some way to make a composite/irregular figure, and be sure to give your art a title. Once you are done with your design, use the picture this page in your geometry area notebook to perform your calculations to find the total area of your composite/irregular figure. Carefully complete the project design form to submit your project data and your answer for the total area of your art. Link later in this presentation. So let's look at the next page. And this is, let's see, it's going to load up. I'm going to pick, let's see, I think I did one too. At least I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. But let's see, teacher handout. All right, so you were to use these blocks and to drag them into a picture of your choice. This looks all crazy, but in some people, they did things like this and put this block here and the corners just touching. That's not a composite shape. They are not touching at least a part of their side. Now, if you had rotated it a little bit and put it like that, that's fine. They are now touching. And once you finish doing that, I gave you the measurements. This was also in on your picture this page in your area notebook. I gave you the measurements of each of these shapes so that you can use those measurements to do your area, calculate your area. And so it says done designing, time to calculate in your area of shapes notebook. And for some of you who did not have a notebook and you could not print the page, you could have just done it on paper, but you show all of your work here. And then it says you're done designing and calculating. Yay. Now go to, and you had to type this in, www.tinyurl.com/picturethis2021 to submit your project design form. It says, note, please be sure to enter your information carefully. Your data and your form must match your picture and your math work shown in your notebook in order to get a grade. So some of you struggled. Oh, and this last part, this is, don't even worry about this. It only connects if I'm on there exactly when you are. It acted really weird. But the rest of this you should have been able to do. Let me show you what that tiny URL form looked like. www.tinyurl. Yep. Picture this 2021. Okay, so it asks you basic information. So my last name is Pugh. My first name, I'm just going to put Tay. Math class, I am going to represent third period today. Yay. Math teacher, DJ Tay. What is the title of your digital art? Crazy Wall. That's what I'm going to name mine. And then notice it says optional. A lot of people contacted me. Miss Tay, it wouldn't let me upload it. It says it's optional. So that's not something you should be worried about if it didn't work. So you can submit a picture or screenshot of your art. Again, it was optional. Now, number 7, what is the total area of your composite figure? So what that means is when I was working on my page here, let me see. Let's look at what mine is. When I was looking at this, I had to calculate the area of this triangle and this triangle and this rhombus and this rhombus and this square and this square and this square and this trapezoid and this triangle, and then add all of that together. So let's say that I said that my total area was 121. Okay. Now I'm going to come down here and ask me how many red trapezoids did I use in my art? So I see I only use 1. So I'm putting 1. Then it said, how many orange squares? 1, 2, 3. How many green triangles? 1, 2. Notice I am carefully entering in my data. How many blue rhombi did I use? 1, 2. Purple triangles, just 1. And beige rhombi, I use 0. And notice it says send me an email receipt of my responses. That's just if you want to receive an email as proof of you submitting. And you click submit. And it says, thank you. Your picture, this digital geometry digital art project has been submitted. You supposed to say your work, excuse me, in Hello Smart will be graded along with your submission here. And you can print it, get a PDF of your answers or submit another response. And once you have this this screen, you're good to go. You are good to go. So I wanted to explain that. Now let's talk about this was last week's project that you guys were given an extension on. Let's talk about this week's project that is due on Monday or Tuesday. All right, it's for you to watch the video. If you go into your, let me log in as a student. Let me see if they'll let me do it here. It might not, because I'm already logged in as a teacher. All right, anyways, when you go into your assignments for math and CTLS, you will have an assignment called the Surface Area Math Writing Project, okay? And what it's going to do, let me see if I can pull it up here. Give me a second, I'm gonna see if I can pull up what it looks like. All right, so when you go into it, this is my screen, so it looks a little different for you. But when you go into it, it has a video for surface area math writing, and it has the project math writing pages. This is where you're submitting your work. Now, unless you use the screen tools to write and to type and draw and all of that, your work may not be shown. But and I also have the video embedded there. So it is a YouTube video. It is a YouTube video. So when you go to that, excuse me, I copied and pasted the wrong thing. When you go to that YouTube video, let's see, I can pull it up. Let me just go to my YouTube real quick. And some of you are already subscribed. So as soon as I posted this video, I saw, gosh, just minutes later, I had a few views. So you guys are doing great because you have already started watching the video. So it's a surface area math writing. So you need to go over this video, and you can watch it as many times as you need to. As many times as you need to. Go over this video and then complete your surface area constructed response number 2. So I show you how to do the constructed response number 1 with a triangular prism. Number 2 is about a square pyramid, a roof. So you need to complete it. And I'm showing you how I completed it. But you need to read the surface area constructed response number 2 so that you can complete that one properly. And it looks, the surface area constructed response number 2 looks like this. There's a big hole in the roof of the music studio. Spin Master Traster needs to completely cover the roof until Khan's roofing company can come to fix it. She wants to buy 450 square feet of tarp, but DJ Tay says that won't be enough. DJ Tay says that Spin Master Traster should buy 760 square feet of tarp in order to cover the whole roof. Who is right? Now, let me give you a big hint. This is not saying that, DJ Tay is not saying that the roof is 760 square feet. She's saying that if instead of buying the pack of tarp that is 450, buy the one that's 760. So you need to see if it's going to be enough. It can be too much. You can have some hanging down of tarp, right? But you don't want it to be too small where it does not cover. So keep that in mind. That is a big, big hint for you. All right, that is a big, big hint. So let me tell you, because some of you, the devices that you are on, they may not allow you to go to the YouTube page yourself. There are 2 things to consider. This is going to also be on YouTube Kids because I have it set that kids can see it. That is made for kids. And then 2, I have the video embedded into your assignment in CTLS. So you can click play and watch it from your CTLS assignment instead of actually going into YouTube. All right, guys. So I know many of you have to leave to go to other help sessions. And so I'm going to end this recording here so that just in case I have to take some questions that has nothing to do with this, I want to be able to help you. So have a great day, and I'll see you in class.